All right, let's just jump right in. When you hear the word technology, you're probably thinking about smartphones, AI, all that cool modern stuff. But here's a thought. What if the most transformative technologies weren't devices at all? What if they were ancient inventions that completely rewired our brains and, get this, actually reshaped our own evolution?
So here's the first big idea you've got to get. We, as a species, did not evolve in a vacuum. We had a partner, a kind of co-conspirator in our own development.
And yeah, you guessed it, that partner was technology. It didn't just help us survive, it fundamentally shaped who we are. So today, we're going to explore this incredible coevolution by looking at 5 key inventions that changed us forever.
Now, take a look at this timeline. It tells such a fascinating story. It's not just about what we invented, but the pacing. You see these massive, yawning gaps between the early inventions, right? And then, boom! Look at the gap between electricity and the internet. It's practically nothing. That acceleration is a huge part of our story.
So, let's start at the very, very beginning. Part 1 is all about the 2 technologies that really separated us from the rest of the animal kingdom and put us on the unique path to becoming, well, human. Fire. You could call it our first great hardware upgrade. The obvious benefits are all right here. Warmth, protection from things that wanted to eat us, and light to conquer the darkness. But its deepest, most profound impact wasn't actually on our environment, it was on our biology.
And this is where it gets really mind-blowing. See, cooking our food made it way easier to digest. That unlocked a huge surplus of calories. So where did all that extra energy go? It went straight to our heads. Literally. Our brains got bigger, more complex. Fire didn't just keep us warm, it fueled the very intelligence that makes us human.
Okay, so with these bigger brains, we started having bigger ideas. But an idea is pretty useless if you can't share it, right? And that's where language comes in. I really want you to think of it just like this. Not just as talking, but as a technology for sharing thoughts. If fire was the hardware upgrade, language was the revolutionary new software. It completely changed the game for communication, cooperation, and of course, the birth of culture. We could suddenly plan, strategize, and build together in ways no other species on Earth could even dream of. And this right here is the ultimate result. For the very first time, an idea could live outside of a single person's head. Knowledge could be passed down, it could be built upon, it could be shared across an entire group. Our thinking wasn't just individual anymore, it was collective. And that's how you turn scattered bands of survivors into the start of a civilization. All right, let's keep building on that. For thousands and thousands of years, all of our collective knowledge was totally dependent on human memory, which, let's be honest, can be a little unreliable. But our next big invention would solve that problem by creating a kind of external mind. I mean, how powerful is that definition? Writing is, quite simply, memory that exists outside the brain. It's the magic of freezing a thought in time and space, letting it travel across generations. And just like that, everything changed. Complex information. Our laws, our great stories, our scientific discoveries, our entire history could suddenly be preserved with perfect accuracy. This is what allowed civilizations to get bigger and more complex, to build on a stable, recorded foundation of knowledge. But, there's always a catch, right? A trade-off. By outsourcing our memory to the written word, we freed up our brains for other awesome stuff like analysis and creativity. The flip side? Our natural ability for rote memorization started to get a little rusty. Every new technology gives us something, but it almost always takes something away too. Okay, now we are about to hit the accelerator. Big time. Part 3 takes us into the modern era, with 2 technologies that didn't just change how we think, they completely remade the physical and mental reality we live in. Think about it. Before electricity, human life was completely dictated by the sun. We woke up with it, and our world just shrank into darkness when it set. After electricity, we conquered the night. We literally created a 24/7 world that runs on our schedule, not nature's. And the impact of that? It was massive, and a lot of it was stuff we didn't even see happening. Our sleep cycles were totally thrown out of whack. The whole idea of a workday ending at sunset just vanished. We basically unplugged ourselves from the natural rhythms that had governed our biology for millions of years. So, if electricity remade our environment, the internet remade our consciousness. And honestly, the best way to think about it is as a global brain, connecting billions of our individual minds into one single planet-spanning network. It's wild.
I mean, the personal changes have been just staggering. Our memory isn't just what we can recall anymore, it's what we can Google. Our identities are now partly digital creations. Our attention spans, well, they've been fragmented by a constant fire hose of information. And our most basic social behaviors are being completely rewired.
It's really a full circle moment. Just like language made thought collective within a small tribe, the internet is making thought collective on a global scale. We're all nodes in this giant network, sharing and reacting and creating in a way that is just completely new in the history of humanity.
So after this whole journey, from the campfire all the way to the cloud, what's the big takeaway? How do we connect all these lessons from our past to the future that we're building, like right now?
This really brings us to the core idea of this entire explainer. Technology is never just a neutral tool. It's always a trade-off. Every single invention that solves a problem also subtly, or sometimes not so subtly, changes us in the process.
And because of that, trying to predict the next cool gadget or the next killer app, that's not really the most important thing we can do. That's not the real question we should be asking ourselves. No, this is the real question. For every new technology that comes along, the most vital, the most crucial thing we have to ask is, how is this going to rewire our brains? How will it alter our societies? And how will it change what it even means to be human? Which leaves us with this final kind of mind-blowing thought. The slow, grinding, biological process of evolution has been hijacked. Through our tools, we are now actively and very, very rapidly engineering our own future. We are the architects of whatever comes next.